Alright, so we read a story by,
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
you can mark it.
Oh, right. Alright, let's talk about our story, Julie.
Okay, so we read a story by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Well, I've never read anything by. I guess I just, skipped that whole semester where we would have read that in high school, Scarlet Letter.
Oh.
But, it's called Young Goodman Brown, and it is about this dude who has to go on some trip into the woods and leave his
like
wife...
a psychedelic trip.
Yeah, leave his wife Faith behind. And he meets a man who takes him on this journey through this forest, which is really ominous and creepy. And he keeps running into people who are supposed to be like really pious, good people in his life, and whatever. Makes it out of the forest, but is a changed man because... I don't know.
It seems that the perceptions that he had in the forest change his demeanor towards everyone.
Yes.
And the perception that he had was that, like, everyone that he had come to see as being pious and religious and faithful or whatever had all been, they'd all been evil, affected by evil. It's kids cannibalistic and when your parents find
Ooh,
them.
cool. I love it.
Maybe we'll read that story next time.
Hell yeah.
The
Evil Pied Piper.
I feel like I may have heard of that story before.
Alright.
You're back. So, anyway, it's an allegory of sorts, I think, obviously, because his wife's... I mean, it kind of hits you over the head with it, honestly.
Her name is Faith.
Her name is Faith. So he goes into the woods, and he has, like, kind of a vision of the witching hour, and all these people that he thought were holy and pious kind of being evil.
Yes.
God dang it! Sorry.
That wasn't me, it was you.
And it affects his demeanor when he actually gets back into town, and it's not clear whether or not his trip into the forest was a dream,
Right.
or was something that really happened. But the point is, and I think there's a couple different meanings. One, apparently not Nathaniel Hawthorne felt really guilty about the role his ancestors played in, like, the Salem witch trial and other terrible things that happened in New England.
And also, like, persecuted Quakers and stuff.
Yeah.
He felt super bad about that, as he should. And, I'm just kidding. But...
Oh, so it's okay to persecute Quakers. Okay. Got it, Julie.
No, I'm saying is he should feel bad about his shitty family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of the story. I didn't really like the writing style. It was a little too old for me, honestly, and I know that's like millennial talk, whatever, but I mean, I'm not trying to read Thou Mayest and stuff. But, and also, it did seem a little cliched only because it's like probably the first story like that of its kind. The whole, like, was it a dream, was it not a dream? Also, you know, good versus evil, yada yada. But, I don't know. I was not crazy about it.
Yeah.
But I still think you should read it.
I mean, I thought, one thing which was interesting is that it's like, okay, so I felt like it was very critical of not just the effects, like, in a way it's criticizing what faith does to you as a person, and it's like, oh, I'm so paranoid about people being evil, or myself being evil, that I can't even, like, be in society without that having an impact on me.
Yes, it's so black and white.
And you get on the other side and we'll run into each other just like before.
Here? Oh, down there.
Yeah. And I thought, yeah, go ahead. You're breaking the system.
Breaking the law.
Alright, let's go get that heart piece from that store. To the left. It's up this way, Julie.
Oh, I don't know.
So I think that was an element that worked really well by naming the wife Faith and then explaining how I thought this was going to be like, oh, this thing that was going to take me and bring me to heaven or whatever thing he says. And it's like, oh, and it turns out now I'm like paranoid about it being evil. And I think that's kind of about how he's had to be very self-conscious about the effects of faith in religion and how it can be a corrupting influence over people. And how people that think that they're incredibly holy can and not be.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the story, when he does come back from his journey, it seems like he turned into kind of a bastard and still was with Faith and had kids and stuff with her, but just like wasn't a nice man.
Yeah, it seems like it's like his life became very empty because of how seriously he took a fabricated vision of this experience.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is like a boss fight, and I got hurt. Okay.
Oh shit. Yeah. So I also kind of wonder, I would have to look back and see how old he was when he wrote that, because it did kind of strike me as something like
Got him once.
maybe a young person who's had their faith tested would feel that way, you know, like, God, everybody's just really bad, and so what's the point? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean that happens to people for sure.
Yeah.
Nice job, Julie.
Hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, I feel like that happens to somebody who's, all right, have a good night.
Hey, we got a thing. Go ahead.
But yeah, I think it's just kind of like when people are young, they're trying to figure out, like, do I believe in God? Do I not believe in God? Do I da-da-da-da-da? Is everything I've been told a lie? You know?
Yeah.
Everybody actually is really bad?
Yeah.
What's the point of being good if everybody's bad?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, I think that's pretty much the story, right?
Yep.
That's how I pretty much felt about everything. Oh, you did say one other thing, which was a good observation, which was in the story he says that it's the man he meets in the woods who's like the representation of the devil. And
Oh, wait.
which we didn't talk a whole lot about, but he's dressed the way he looks a lot like him, but he's older.
Mm-hmm.
He looks a lot like the protagonist, which I think, like you said, is kind of like supposed to be like symbolize that the concern that the individual person is evil as well, you know?
Yeah, like that's like his biggest fear is turning into some kind of a devilish bad person, and the guy happens to be dressed like him and kind of maybe looks like an older version of him, and he's being led down this path by himself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, who knows?